Good day, it's Althea from the Bible in 1 year. Today we spend time in Ezekiel 32. Nothing is ever guaranteed. After Israel was taken into Israel, God moved the focus to the neighboring countries for Jerusalem. One by one, God sends a message to them through Ezekiel. God dealt with them according to their transgressions. In Ezekiel 32, God deals with the final country, Egypt. Although Egypt practiced idol worshipping for centuries, they cannot say they do not know the God of Israel. Israel and Egypt had a very long history. The Israelites moved to Egypt to escape famine in their own country, as we read in Genesis. The Egyptian Pharaoh enslaved the Israelites. Through Moses, God used 10 plagues to get Pharaoh to release the Israelites from this slavery. After multiple plagues, Pharaoh realized that the God of Israel is the true God, as we read in Exodus 10, verse 16 and 17. Then Pharaoh hurried to call for Moses and Aaron, and he said, I have sinned against the Lord your God and against you. Now therefore, please forgive my sins only this one more time, and pray and entreat the Lord your God, so that he will remove the plague of death from me. Israel left Egypt to start their 40-year journey through the desert, and they took in the promised land. Israel then pleaded with God to be ruled by kings. Over many years, the kings led Israel into pagan worship. Through the years, Israel interacted with Egypt on many occasions. Egypt was a powerhouse of wealth. They relied heavily on the Nile River, and agriculture was a primary thing, as they had some of the most fertile land. Ships sailed up and down the river, and they traded crops, gold, papyrus, linen, cedarwood, and ivory, to name but a few commodities. Egypt did not need God. They had the security of the Nile River. Never did they think that they would be sent to hell, as we read in verse 21. It is not possible to ignore God indefinitely, as His mercy does run out. Their encounters with God through Israel did not open their hearts towards the Lord. In chapter 32, verse 2, God speaks against Pharaoh for seeing himself as a lion, but in fact he is like a sea monster. God will bring him on dry land, and the birds will feed on him. This literally came true. In verse 6, we read, God will water the land with flowing blood. This refers to the first plague, water into blood. And verse 7, I will cover the heavens and darkens their stars. This refers to the 9th plague, when the whole land was in darkness. Verse 8 says, I will put out your light. This refers to the 10th plague, death. One of Egypt's greatest gods is Ra, the sun god. The king of Egypt was considered the son of the sun god. Therefore, nowhere to be found in the heart of Egypt is any room for God, although God had made himself visible on many occasions. In Exodus 34, verse 14, we read, For you shall not worship any other god, for the Lord, whose name is jealous, is a jealous, impatient God, demanding what is rightfully and uniquely His. God had made it clear to Egypt through Israel that it is not acceptable to serve other gods. Their eyes never opened. They never saw the light. In John 8, verse 12, we read, Once more Jesus addressed the crowd. He said, I am the light of the world. He who follows me will not walk in darkness, but will have the light of life. And in 1 Timothy 6, verse 11, we read, But as for you, O man of God, flee from these things. Aim at and pursue righteousness, true goodness, moral conformity to the character of God. godliness, the fear of God, faith, love, steadfastness, and gentleness. May you choose the light, the true light. Choose to walk in His footsteps, in His light, far from the dark sins of this world. Set out to pursue righteousness, conformity to the character of God, to walk in faith, love, steadfastness, and gentleness. Make sure that you know the God of Israel. Then God will not be able to say He never knew you. May you be blessed. Goodbye.